Boop. Going live. And I'm live, okay. So Mark Serbo is back in Florida by now. Which means I'm all alone drinking beer. Well, the missus is in the kitchen. Yeah, it's Friday, which means beer. I ordered beer from my beer tap, but it's supposed to arrive tonight. And it usually takes like 12 hours for it to cool in the machine. At least my machine. I don't have a proper bar machine or anything. So the postal service might phone me and disrupt the stream. So at the moment I'm drinking Helles summer beer, some kind of, I guess, hard rock beer from a place in Sweden called Örebro. It's supposed to be a Helles, which is just a light lager basically. So let's see what it is. Skål på det. Yeah, it's a nice beer. Nice beer. I enjoy it. So, who's with us? A path trampled by deer is with us. Close up, Faber friend, the noble Carl. Padronen, Abbe, Karlsson Rack, Ostish, Alfred, Enrique, Andreas Brynér, Sick, Jonas Andersson, Anders B, Brad Nothing. Cheers yet again. Mikael got his new rifle. Congratulations, Mikael. New gun day is best day. Always will be. So let's talk about new guns. There we go. So just going to remind you all that on August 1st, technically, you can order an AR10 with an 18-inch barrel and a 5-round magazine on a hunting license, which is pretty easy to get. Just take the hunting exam and apply for it, and there you go. Not sure what the police will actually say about that, but we'll know for sure at the end of August if they allow these licenses. And yeah, not sure if I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, but this came after that. Anyway, police chief is alarming or something. More people in risk of getting shot when the military semi-auto weapons become legal. Okay, so I have 4 AR-15s already. They were always legal, but not for hunting because we had bullshit fashion rules regarding hunting rifles. Those are the rules that's going away. The rules still in place are 18-inch or longer barrels and 5-round magazines when you buy it. Afterwards, you can buy a 30-round or 20-round or whatever magazine and use it on a shooting range, but you're not allowed to hunt with. While hunting, you have to have 2 or 5-round magazines depending on which wildlife or game you're hunting. So anyway, some asshole thinks that people are gonna get shot with semi-auto weapons. At the same day this news came out, the customs officers followed some guy smuggling drugs to their apartment and found an actual bomb, an anti-tank rifle, one of those rocket-propelled grenades things, and a full-auto AK-47 or AKM or whatever it was, and a shitload of drugs. Criminals already have shit we'll never get on a license in Sweden. They make bombs out of thermoses or something and blow shit up. And they already apparently they have rocket launchers and also full auto machine guns. This will not change anything. The thing is, the only thing that's actually changing is how a semi-auto rifle on a hunting license can actually look. My father has been hunting for a decade with a semi-auto, what is it, like one of those really large calibers, 9.2 by something. It's a hilariously large round, and that shit will put on a bear. An AR-15 will not. It will just tickle a bear. And that's a semi-auto rifle with 5-round mags. The big difference is that the AR-15 or AR-10 or whatever looks naughty, according to these guys. Yeah, super naughty. Look at it. You can wage war with it. All firearms are dangerous in the wrong hands. And I like to remind people that police the police statistically commit more crimes that are actually punished for than the other group known as legal gun owners. Legal gun owners commit less crime than actual police officers in Sweden and even in the US, actually, as far as I know. Could be wrong on that, don't quote me, but it is that way in Sweden at least. Right. So after this news came out, the government agency Trackit, which came out with these rules, they basically said that it's the same shit. We're just removing the fashion rules. It still has to have a certain barrel length, has to fire a certain kind of ammunition to be able to hunt with it, etc. All the same rules. The only thing removed is the fashion rules. The actual functioning part of the firearm are still the same. Semi-auto versus bolt action or whatever. It's still a semi-auto firearm. Right, let's continue on. So this guy is an asshole for an asshole newspaper, but he's writing about the police basically covering up gun smuggling from Turkey. So the police are covering up the actual smuggling of the firearms the criminals use, while complaining about legal gun ownership for hunters and sport shooters. So to be able to complain more about the legal firearms, they're covering up the smuggling of the illegal firearms that the actual criminals and terrorists are actually using. So do not trust the police. They are lying and they don't want what's best for Sweden, and they are crap at their job. They have a political agenda. And this is from the most politically biased and shit newspaper in Sweden, right? Even an asshole like this guy see through the police bullshit. So that is actually funny. So yeah, I haven't read through this. Let's have a look at this. This is the first time I'm seeing this. So what's the date today? So yeah, tomorrow this law comes into effect. So people have been asking about the new magazine law and what it actually means. And many people wrongly think that they have to get rid of the 30 round magazines or whatever for the AR-15. So what does the law actually says? If you have an up to 10 round magazine for a rifle, you don't need a permit if you want to give it to someone, like someone who don't own a firearm, or you have one for a firearm you don't have a license for. Up to 10 round magazines and 20 round magazines for a handgun. If the magazine can contain more rounds than that, then you have to have either a license for that particular magazine or a firearm that magazine fits, a license for that firearm. So say you have like a sport shooting license for an AR-15 or something, then you can have whatever magazine size you want for it. There is no magazine restrictions for a firearm you have a license for. But if you don't own a license, so people that's fucked right now, that is like airsofters who want a real steel magazine or something for their real steel whatever. So airsofters can't use like an original magazine body or something and put their plastic BBs inside of it. And people in the Home Guard can't have G3 magazines privately unless they own a G3 clone or something privately. So people like that, or collectors who don't actually own a license for collecting magazines, they would have to apply for that license now, then they can own it. So yeah, so those are the people affected by this. Actual gun owners that want magazines for their firearms, that have legal guns, they are not affected by this. They can own whatever magazine or feeding device or whatever you want to call it. Also, there is no definition of what this is. Basically, the politicians said, let the courts decide what's a magazine feeding device, or however they define it in the law. So, this is the important part. So, I'll translate it for you who don't speak Swedish. Swedish people, just read it. Whoever has the right to own a certain firearm for shooting or collecting, which just a license for that firearm from police, can, without any other permit, own any type of firearms magazine as long as it fits in that firearm. Okay? There is no restrictions for magazines for a rifle or handgun or whatever that you have a license for. Okay, so let's just forget that. This is much better than most of Europe. Finland has, you gotta have like, I don't remember it exactly, so I'm just making shit up now, but I think it is like you're gonna have to have a certain sport shooting license or whatever to have like a 30 round mag for your AR-15. It is a little bit more complicated in Finland. So yeah, it could be a lot worse. It still sucks, but it could be a lot worse. Oh, Mark Serbu is with us. I just mentioned you at the beginning of the stream, telling everyone that you're back in the land of the free and the home of the brave or whatever. Also known as Florida. Right, so let's continue on with the news. So Pierre Clerté, our Lord and Savior, has written an article about gun amnesties where you turn in your firearms. And she basically, I'll put the link in chat, she basically tells everyone that it won't do shit about criminality. Obviously, criminals won't turn in their firearms. The only time this is actually good is if you're redecorating your grandparents' house or something and you find some old guns inside a wall or whatever, then you can turn them in. But my usual tip, if you find something like that, is just throw them in a lake and never talk about it again. Right. This is how fucked up it can get. A museum gets a permit to have free shotguns. Why did this have to go to court? The police should just give them a permit to have those free shotguns. They're nothing special with shotguns. This is how much the Swedish police wants to fuck with you. Even a museum who wants to have just free shotguns in their collection has to go to court and fight the police to get it. It's stupid. It's so stupid. So let's talk about Finland since I mentioned them. They have a new government now, and a large part of that new government is actually going all in on NATO and getting better at defending Finland. So they're basically saying no to the European Union firearms ban and just telling them to stick it somewhere. And the government is making sure Finland's shooting ranges are going to be safe. And they basically made a decision to at least have 1,000 shooting ranges in Finland and making it easier to create new shooting ranges in Finland. And stuff like Finnish Brutality, for example, SRA, those kind of competitions, those will be tax deductible. Shit like that is what Finland is doing, while Sweden is doing the opposite. So that was the news. One more piece of news, by the way. I almost forgot it. There we go. So, some guy got his hunting rifle stolen from his car, and he loses all firearms and permits. So what actually happened was he went to the store or getting something to eat or something while having the rifle in the car, and he had a bolt in a jacket in the car as well. And both the rifle and the jacket were stolen. He was supposed to take the bolt with him while going into the store. Then it would have been safe. So he actually broke the law there. You're going to have a vital part of the firearm, which is usually the bolt, with you at all times when you're doing shit like that. So if I'm going from the shooting range and going to like McDonald's or whatever, I have to have the bolt with me, or actually see the car at all times so I can do something if something happens. So yeah, just a heads up there. Remember the laws you're supposed to follow. Right, let's see here. Did Mark Serbu say anything fun? Okay, so apparently the moon landing was faked and the Earth is flat. Good on you, Mark. Are you already drunk? Isn't it like 11 a.m. or something where you're in Florida right now? Oh shit, Mark is assault funny. I'm gonna get my channel banned. Right, well, what else are you guys saying here? Let me have a look at the chat. Greg wants to know, quick question, if you have a hunting gun, can you get a shorter barrel than 18 inches for target shooting? Yes, if you have a barrel swap system on the gun, you just do like this and swap the barrel. And you can apply for a license for that barrel on a sport shooting license if you manage to motivate a need for that barrel. I have that. So I have my Sauer 200 STR is on a hunting license with a 6.5x55 barrel, but I have a 308 barrel that's actually 18 inches. But yeah, I could shorten the 308 barrel to whatever I want if I wanted to, but 18 inches is good enough for a 308. And I have a 22 long rifle barrel that I've shortened to 16 inches, I believe. But a 22 long rifle barrel does not need to be that long. I could get away with having a pistol length barrel on that bad boy. So yeah, it's possible to do it, and I've done it myself. But you have to be able to motivate a need for it, and go for a shooting club and all that stuff. What else are you guys saying here? Mark is still jet lagged. Yeah, god damn it, that's gotta be a bitch. What are you saying? How should you do it with a semi-auto? You press the trigger, I guess? Was that a question? Kora says, want to move to Sweden, how do they go about gunsmithing? Is there a gunsmith license or something like that? So usually you have to have a permit from police, so for handling firearms, and you're gonna have to have at least 20 customers a year, and you get a permit. You get a special permit to be able to keep the firearms. You have to have special safes, and it's a long song and dance and lots of hoops to jump through. But and it's still kind of primitive. They still deal with like actual literal paperwork to handle that shit. I hope that shit turns digital soon. Tom Anders, hello everyone, vacation time. Tom Anders is going to buy a lot of new firearms very soon. He is single-handedly keeping the firearms market open in Sweden. Good on you, Tom Anders. Emvin wants to know, can you explain how military firearms on a hunting license seems extremely vague right now? I mentioned this earlier in the stream. So technically, 1st of August, you can apply for an AR10, for example, in 308 with an 18-inch barrel and a 5-round magazine if you want to. So just write 5 rounds on the number of rounds in the magazine. And if you want to get that 20 rounder or whatever, you do that and you fire that on a shooting range. You're not allowed to hunt with it. That would be a crime. But just get yourself a 5-round or 2-round magazine, depending on what you're hunting, and you would be fine. That is what the actual law says will happen on August 1st. And that is also what the police is complaining about in the media. So we'll see what the actual police are going to say when application starts dropping in. But technically, yes, it costs a couple of 100 krona to try, and you should try, and you should tell me if you get the license. Just make sure to apply for a permit to buy, inköpstillstånd. And also make sure you apply for a firearm you can actually get your hands on. So check sources like ARS, Action Reaction Sports, or scr.nu, or places like that actually sells these rifles. Make sure you apply for 18 inches or longer. So yeah. Tom wants to hit the gym and range every day. Yeah, I hope I'll be able to. So my significant other was in a car for 5 hours with her colleague, who turns out she got pneumonia. So hopefully neither her nor me were infected. I'm feeling great right now because I'm drinking beer, but we'll see how I feel on Monday. And if I get this horrible disease, I'm pretty much fucked. But the odds are pretty low because no one else in that person's vicinity has been infected. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Pneumonia is kind of shit. But if I get it, I'll be on antibiotics, which means I can't train, I can't drink. It will be streams on Fridays where I feel like shit if I even manage to hold one, and I won't be able to have a beer, which will suck. Beer and antibiotics do not mix. Christopher says, in Denmark we have to write in a government-approved weapons book. Well, it's kind of similar to Sweden. Vapenbok or weapons book is what gun dealers have. And the same with just a regular gunsmith. They have something similar where they write what they take in and what they leave out and all that, and then report it to the police. I'm not a gun dealer or gunsmith, so I don't know the nitty-gritty details, but that's pretty much what they do. A charger barrel Ruger PC carbine would be cool. Yes, that would be cool. A 9mm does not need an 18-inch barrel. It's proper bullshit. And the reasoning why they want you to have an 18-inch barrel is because they want to have the accuracy. So, for those that do not know, and Mark Serbo can back me up on this, an 18-inch barrel will not make a 22 long rifle or any caliber more accurate. So it will make, depending on the caliber, 22 long rifle is not affected by this. But if you have like a 20-inch barrel for some calibers, like 6.5 or 55 or 308 or something, then you will keep more of the speed. So you will shoot a little bit straighter or something on usual hunting distances, sub 100 meters or something. You won't have to have as much of a holdover. But it will not increase accuracy. It will decrease accuracy with a longer barrel. Longer barrels have more barrel flex. A shorter barrel will have less. A short barrel is stiffer than a longer barrel if the diameter is the same of the barrel. So yeah, long barrels are proper bullshit. That is why you'll see long-range competitors have bull barrels, the really thick one, as the girl said. And that will make them more stiffer, obviously, if they're thicker. So thick, heavy barrels, that's really long to keep the speed, so you can get that bullet out to distance. But all hunting distances are like 80 meters or something at the furthest. Most hunting distances are really short range. So you really do not need a long barrel, especially for 22 long rifle. A long barrel on a 22 long rifle is just a shitty suppressor. And 9mm is pretty much the same. Right, so rant over. Fuck long barrels if you're not doing long range shooting. That's the only time you need a long barrel. Long range shooting. And that is not for hunting. Because there's so many variables, so you cannot take an ethical long range. It's literally impossible to take an ethical long range shot. Like, I'm talking a kilometer or longer. Even if you have the energy at that distance. Like my 338 Leftoy Magnum could technically do it, but I would not be able to hit a vital spot on a moose or something. Oh shit, Mark Serbo wants to bring up Michael Jackson. God damn it, Mark Serbo. Am I gonna have to shut down the chat for this stream? Behave. Alright. Emvin says, nice, thank you. Planning to apply for an FAL. You will do that. Those assholes have a long barrel, long ass barrel. You can poke the moon with those barrels. Do it, get an FAL. But FALs only have 20 round magazines, so you need to do some voodoo magic to make the police accept 5 round magazines for that firearm. But that would be awesome to have an FAL on a hunting license. Not gonna lie, that would be, I kind of want to do that myself now. But an AR-10 is objectively the best firearm you can get on a hunting license in 308. That would be the shit. An FAL is obviously cooler, or a G3 or something. Why not? A G3 is actually better, logistically speaking, because hjältarnas land, Tyskland, Deutschland, Germany has bullshit magazine law restrictions. So they have a surplus of 5-round magazines and shit for the G3. So it would be pretty easy to get a G3 on a hunting license with the proper magazine capacity, and then get a shitload of 20 rounders for it. Maybe I should do that. I would love to own a G3. But yeah, an AR10 would be better. But I already have an AR10. The 6.5 by 6.5 Creedmoor Heine. So I don't know. The G3 would be cool. Shit. Maybe I need to do that. God damn it. I'm getting IDs. Storm, opinion on 16-inch versus 20-inch AR15 barrel. Depending on the ammunition, really. If you're reloading, reload for whatever you're going to use. Actually, you can get away with shorter AR15 barrels nowadays with the new ammunition that the US Army uses. Like a 14.5 is what they use in the military right now, right? So 20-inch barrel, now we're talking like M16A1 or something, or A2 or A3 or A4 or whatever they're up to now. It gets a lot more speed. So yeah, and it is a difference. When I shoot my Steyr in 5.56 with a 16-inch barrel versus a 20-inch barrel, I have both for my Steyr AUG. And I shoot at a target at half a kilometer and I hit steel. With a 20-inch barrel, it's like a proper smack. It's actually energy on target. That would kill a Russian. But if I shoot with a 16-inch barrel, I cannot hear the ding. I cannot see the plate moving. It's a lot less energy on target. So depending on your usage scenario, just go with the length you're comfortable with. If you want to shoot at even 500 meters, a 20-inch barrel will give you a lot more energy. So yeah, that's the way it is with 5.56. But yeah, it's a tiny little pellet. Path Trampled by Deer says there is a golden zone for the length of barrel, thickness, rifling, inches per turn. It also depends on caliber. Yeah, and the golden zone is dependent on what your usage scenario for the firearm is. Like a 300 blackout, Goldilocks zone, Mr. Lagom is about like 8 inches or something. But if you want to do long range with a 6.5 by 55, then we're talking like 26 inches would be fine perhaps. And a 1 in 8 twist or a 1 in 7.5 if you want to use the heavier bullets. But if you're doing the factory loads, 1 in 8 is good enough with 130 grains. So it's a little marriage of a bunch of numbers, and it's not actually easy to get around that. So depending on your usage scenario, you have to take into account a lot of different shit. So for example, if I got an AR10 on a hunting license in 308, I would love to have at least 1 in 10 twist, because then I can stabilize the little heavier hunting bullets with a little more oomph in them. But yeah, it's kind of hard to find a 1 in 10 twist AR10 for some stupid reason. It's like they're married to stupid NATO standard 140 grainers. Right, next beer. So this is a Market Porter, smooth, creamy porter from Thornbridge. Market Porter is a decadently smooth and creamy. Expect coffee and chocolate character balanced with a light roastiness. Okay. Tactical spork time. There we go. Right, so I have another beer. Padronen says, isn't the US Army adopting 308 on the rifle from Sig Sauer? No, they have... what's the caliber name? I forgot the caliber now because I'm starting to get drunk. They have this fancy caliber with a steel bottom that can handle higher pressures. and they use like 13-inch barrels, and since it's so high pressure, it gets up to speed in that short barrel, and it's actually very accurate apparently, because a short barrel is accurate, as I said before. So it's actually kind of voodoo magic, but it's such a high speed that it will burn out barrels immediately if you use the proper ammunition for it. So they have that caliber, whatever it is, I forgot, and they use just regular loads for it while doing everything else. Everything else. And that's funny, because even then, it's like a 308 with a slightly higher diameter bullet. And even then, they have a really hefty recoil on the caliber with using the light loads for practicing that will actually have some barrel life in it. And 277 Fury, that's the civilian name of it, yes. Or 6.8 by 51. No, it's actually, oh no, it's not a larger caliber, it's a smaller caliber. Oh, that's correct. I'm getting drunk. So smaller caliber lets you have longer and more aerodynamic bullets. That's why 6.5 is better than 30 cal or 308 or 7.62, because it's a longer bullet. It's not actually about the bullet weight, it's about the length of the bullet that you do the ballistic coefficient calculations on, and all that. Also, you need a fancy radar for it. That's an entirely different video though. Yeah, so anyway, it's a very high recoiling short barreled rifle that has very accurate ammunition when it has the fancy ammunition. I would love one of those rounds for my collection though. Yep, that's a porter. That's a nice porter. Yeah. So Red Dot 7 says, I'm getting close to buying my first 22 long rifle handgun, I guess. So 22 long rifle handgun, it's individual to the person, and you say national shooting. So that's Pistolskytteförbundet, or the Pistol Shooting Association in Sweden, which means that you shoot one-handed like this, boop, 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 and you need to have like a grouping like this, 5 shots at 25 meters, and it's super hard. And yeah, you're gonna need one of those space guns with a really low bore axis, and a thumb shelf, and the correct angle of the grip to your body basically. So what you should do is go to the range with your shooting club, ask to try out everyone's 22 long rifle handgun and see which fits you the best. So if you're close to getting your license, then you have shoot your golden series, which is 46 points with a 22 3 times, and then a couple of fast rounds for shooting as well. And also taking the basically the green card for shooting, and being part of the shooting club for a half a year. So if you've done that, try to try as many guns as possible and just feel them out. If you have to be proficient at shooting this way to actually get all those series. So you should know what you're doing. Just feel them out, feel what's good for you and all that. Don't buy a 22 long rifle handgun that looks cool. I did it and I shoot like shit with it, but I have good guns to shoot those series with in the shooting club, so whatever. I'm using a Benelli MP90S to shoot those series, to refresh them every 2 years. So I do it every year though. But just make sure to have a gun that's good for you and that fits your body and your hand and your shooting style. And it's kind of individual. There's a bunch of good ones out there. One of the most popular ones is Feinberg Pau, what is it called, AW93 or something. That's one of the more popular ones. So just try out what works for you. Mark Serbu says that's why the 6.5 Swede is awesome. It is awesome. It is awesome, and it's like way over 100 years old, 130 years old or something like that, and it's still a awesome caliber. Okay, Anders Speer just got a license for his first handgun, Volkwarzen Mamba TF. Let's have a look at that. They make really good shit for stuff. So, what do you get? This one. Okay, this looks nice. This actually looks nice. But if it's the one with the little muzzle brake thingy here, that's not allowed to have something that can reduce the recoil. So this would not be allowed actually in a competition. But I'm gonna guess you have one without that. Is there actually one without that? I don't know. And is that some kind of barrel tuning thing? I don't know. But it looks really nice. That's probably really nice. Yeah, good for you. Whoop. Padronen says AR10 hunting rifle in 6.5 Swedish. Yeah, so there is one for sale in the Czech Republic by Luvo, and I would not buy that one because Luvo makes shit. I have a Luvo 22 long rifle that does not work. AR15. Christopher says looks like an MK4 on steroids. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Volkswagen is famous for making accessories for the Ruger handguns in 22 long rifle. They make good shit. I have a lot of their stuff in my Ruger and it works fine. The trigger systems, all the little accessories and all that. I basically changed everything except like the bolt and barrel on mine. So I have the one with a 1911 grip angle. What is it called? 2245 or something. But there is no good ergonomic grips for it. So I actually made my own thumb shelf and everything for mine, mold after my hand with clay and shit, and just harden it to the existing. The noble call, what ammo is best for the Benelli MP90? I'm using CCI standard. It works fine, CCI standard. You should use probably some other ammunition for competition because there could be flyers because of quality control on CCI standard. It's pretty good, but there's going to be some rounds that goes off without any good explanation. But I mainly use CCI standard. At the moment, CCI standard is shooting better than I am, so I need to practice more with my handguns. Usually when I'm shooting handguns, it's inside of the mountain, the bunker, and I'm not allowed to film there. That's why I basically have no handgun videos. So yeah, just so you know. Fad Weather Friend wants to know about the status on free rifle. It's when the shooting club in Sweden make up their own rulebook, like my club. I've helped a lot of shooting clubs in Sweden do this. We still get our licenses. I haven't heard anyone having any trouble with this. I do know that they do not like when you want to have a sub 16-inch barrel, in Stockholm at least, but this is different between regions. So we still get our licenses in Stockholm at least. So I don't know about the rest of Sweden, but yeah. Panzer wants to know, can you get an MP1522 to hunt birds with now? Yeah, you can if you have an 18-inch barrel. Sure, why not? Put a suppressor on it as well. A suppressed 22 is super fun, but why get a MP1522? Just get a Ruger 1022. It's still the best 22 long rifle semi-auto, and that's always been fine to have on a hunting license. But I guess the MP1522 should be good. The reason is it's hard to make magazines that feed well for rim-fire cartridges. It's easy to get rim lock. So if it gets the wrong way around, it will lock in the magazine, and it's hard to feed these rounds through a magazine as well. So you want to have a magazine that does not have feeding issues. And the Ruger 1022 has been around since forever, like the 1960s or whatever. And it's figured out the magazine issue a long time ago. That's also why the Dragunov, most of the development time of the Dragunov rifle was with the magazine, making a proper 10-round magazine that actually feeds correctly. There's a lot of thought gone into that magazine. I should make a video just about that magazine. It's actually ingenious. Do you have PCP air guns there? I think FX air guns is from your... Yeah, FX air guns is Swedish, but we have this limit on energy an air gun can have, and still that that you won't require a license for it. So I don't know. Air guns, maybe for target shooting. FX air guns are nice. They make good shit. But it was a long time ago I shot air guns, like 2004 or something. I shot a lot of handguns. I use a Feinbergbau handgun, and we shoot them at 10 meters. Really good practice before you use gunpowder handguns, or like a 22 long rifle. Foul Weather Friend says, once you have the license, you have the license. Rifles are for life, but pistol needs to be renewed after 5 years, and you need a club letter of approval for that. That is correct. And to get that club letter of approval, you need to 2 years, you need to be active in the club. It can vary between clubs, actually. But main requirements are you have to have shot those golden series, 46 points, and all that jazz. You need to be active and actually engage in the shooting club to be able to renew your license. If you get a kid and become occupied for a year, you're fucked. You can't have your handguns anymore. You have to sell them, and be careful. You could commit a firearms crime if you're not careful. That has happened to friends of mine. They forgot to send it in like 1 day late. They forgot to send in the paperwork, and they're fucked. Tom wants to get a Glock 21 again. Why not? Get one. Father Weather Friend says you can actually get some more power for air guns on a class 4 hunting license. Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of people who do for municipalities shoot rats and birds and pigeons and whatnot. They don't want to use a 22, a suppressed 22, because actually firing a firearm in populated areas requires expensive permits. Even if they do it for a living, it's still super expensive. So what they do is they get a really powerful air gun that doesn't require those expensive permits, because it's just an air gun, right? It's not as, even if it's as powerful energy wise as a 22 long rifle, they don't require the permit of a 22 long rifle, because a 22 long rifle has the really nasty gunpowder in it. So yeah, it's super ridiculous, but that's the way the laws are written. Panzer says, my mom has a deactivated blah blah pistol. Can she reactivate it and put in a... Does she have some kind of permit to have that? Because she's probably committing a crime right now having that pistol. Just saying. Don't put shit like that on the internet. At least you're not using your real name. It's probably a firearms offense. It's probably that. Throw it in a lake. Lose it in a boating accident. Anders B has a good question. Isn't Stenberg Heden, which is a parliamentarian in Sweden, gonna remove the 5-year licensing? Yes. He's told me that many times, and that is actually what is going to happen. He's basically promised that many times, and he's going to enact an investigation in how to change the law to remove the 5-year licensing, remove synnerliga skäl, remove a bunch of shit, and basically redo the entire legislation to make it less shitty. Yes, that's going to happen. But when? I don't know. The investigation is still not launched, so we'll see. So now the parliament has basically vacation during the summer, so we'll see if something happens in the autumn or in September or something. Okay, she has a license for the pistol, then it shouldn't be an issue. But if she got it in the 1960s, it's not even certain that it's in the registry with the current police. They fucked up that registry so badly. Yeah. Can you somehow get more than 6 rifles, I guess, on a hunting license? Yes, you can, if you are like hunting for a living or something and you can really motivate a need for it. It's stupid. That's another thing Stenberg Heden, the moderate politician, wants to change. He wants us to be able to own more firearms. So 6 rifles on a hunting license, that's just stupid. It shouldn't be any issue to own whatever rifles you want to own. It's just stupid to have an artificial limit at 6. What's the deal with that? You just remove that. And as long as you're not a criminal, you should be able to own whatever you want. Whatever you want. You should be own whatever. Every night, the Swedish police runs every legal gun owner against the registry of suspects for a crime and people who have actually been sentenced for a crime. So there's zero reason to fear that legal gun owners are going to do something stupid. I have 2 hands. What does it matter if I have 5 or 50 firearms? I only have 2 hands, right? One firearm with 50 magazines are more dangerous than 50 rifles in a very large backpack. If I were to become a psychotic criminal or something overnight, which will not happen because I'm not an asshole. It's just so ridiculous that they're against the most stable persons in our society, the legal gun owners, who don't even dare to break the speed limit because they're afraid of losing their firearms. I drive like a senior citizen. Mark Serbo says, I think I have 6 in my car. Yeah, I would imagine you do. Oh dear. I don't give them ideas. Yeah. Okay, so Christopher says they don't have that limit in Denmark. They have a safe storage requirement at 25 firearms. It needs to be a vault, but that's the only thing. So we have something similar in Sweden as well on top of the other stupid shit. So 6 rifles on a hunting license, 8 rifles on a sport shooting license, actually 10 handguns on a sport shooting license. Then we have a point system. So a rifle is 1 point, a handgun is 2 points, a machine gun is 4 points. And in a regular firearm safe, you can have 20 points stored. So always remember, kids, buy the largest safe you can afford. Just get the largest one and get a code lock for it as well. So I don't have a regular gun safe, I have like a vault. So I can store, 40 points. And if I get a really fancy alarm system that I can't afford, I can store as much as I want. Gun stores have to have that. Yeah, so I already have almost the most fancy storage system that's available. So it wouldn't really matter if I got 1 or 2 guns more. It's still filled with AKs and ARs and shit. Cora says, from what I know, you can't get a fully automatic gun in Sweden. Well, I have a fully automatic Swedish K in my safe. And as a collector, I can technically get whatever I want. I've known collectors who have full auto anti-aircraft guns and shit. Full auto MG42s and shit, rocket launchers, actual cannons. On a collector's license you can get technically whatever, but you have to have a permit from the police to fire them each and every time. And I have a collector's license, but I only have bolt actions on mine, and the police really do not like to give out a license for full autos on a collector's license nowadays. But anyway, I got a permit to, I have some old videos firing my Mosin Nagant PU sniper, and I got a permit to fire it for that. I really should apply for a permit to fire my K98K, because there's been a lot of requests for me to do that during the years. Apparently that rifle is super popular for some reason. Fucking Nazis, all of you. Alright, Cora got... yeah, Marcus actually fired my Swedish K last summer. Christopher says there's a full auto SMG competition in Sweden. Yeah, so We have a lot. We have a lot. What is it, like 5,000 senior citizens armed with full auto Swedish case. Each and every one of them has their own personal one. It's all full auto, and it's a stupid competition, but it's kind of fun because it's so challenging. So you're not supposed to fire them full auto. So we have 3 shooting positions: prone, kneeling, and standing. And when you're prone, you load 5 rounds in a magazine, and then you have to fire like this. So you don't want to fire those full auto, and because then you're gonna miss. But when we're shooting kneeling and standing, we only have 1 round in a magazine, so then you can squeeze the trigger. But not when you're firing prone. Then you have 5 rounds in the magazine. So that's what it is. What it is. Tom says, so I should apply for a collector's license. Happy days. Yeah, if you want to fight the courts, go ahead. Brad Nothing says, what about Davy Crockett? You know, the US-made nuclear rifle. It's not a rifle if it has this super fancy tripod and a super fat nuclear bomb on the end of it. But yeah, it's a recoilless rifle, I guess. And yeah, I would love a Davy Crockett in my collection. Would be kind of hard to find ammunition for it though. Yeah, Davy Crockett. It's not as fun. It's one of those stupid things when nukes were new and exciting. Everyone started to make these really hilarious nukes. My favorite one is Project Pluto. Before intercontinental ballistic missiles were a thing, the US tried to develop a nuclear ramjet, a really humongous missile. That was the engine was a nuclear fueled ramjet. So they only made the engine and test fired the engine, and it worked. It worked. The plan was to make a humongous missile, an autonomous missile, going round and round the Earth. So they fire it off when World War III happened, and it was supposed to go round and round the Earth, find the targets, and then you start circling around Russia, pooping out radiation all over Russia, and then just contain a shitload of nukes, and just drop all the nukes over the targets, and then just keep circling forever, like 50 years until the fuel goes out or whatever, and then just poop radiation all over the place. Project Pluto is the most insane shit ever. They discontinued Project Pluto because they thought it was too provocative. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's some proper Fallout shit, friends. Google Project Pluto. There's a really fun Wikipedia article about it. Hello, Viking One. Nuclear landmines, nuclear AA missiles, yeah. So the only thing you really need to do with a nuke, like if North Korea wanted to fuck us all over, they would just put a nuke really high up, really high up, and just blow it up in the stratosphere or something. And then from horizon to horizon, every electrical device would be fucked. And it would just shut the lights off of everything. That's the easiest one. You need 1 nuke to do that. What about owning a tank in Sweden? It's fine, just buy one. Yeah, that's the electromagnetic pulse. Kallas igen. Mark says we're trying to get a nuke for the next Edward Sarkassian video. Sarkassian video. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Hope you get one. Need some fancy permits for that though. Right, I'm almost out of beer. 1 little sip left. Last questions in chat, please. Oh shit, I'm spilling beer. This one was an okay porter. I've drunk better porters, but I liked the really thick porters where you feel like you're drinking tar or something. For a hell beer, this one was pretty nice. But the porter, it's okay, but it was I've drunk a lot better porters. But it's an okay porter. Christopher says tanks are easy to buy in most places. Yeah, if you don't want to buy a tank, be prepared to pay a lot of money. So a lot of money for the tank and equal amount of money to ship it to wherever you want it. And what's it called? There's a Czech company that sells T-72s, BMPs and everything. What's it called? I don't remember what's it called. Google that shit, you'll find it. Tom wants to know, when are we going to Västerås and shoot at 500? I don't know, tomorrow perhaps. Jan bought a Schmidt Rubin in 6.5. Schmidt Rubin, what's that? I need to Google that shit. Schmidt Rubin. The Schmidt Rubin rifles were a series of Swiss Army service rifles in use up to 1958. Distinguished by the straight pull bulb. Ah, okay. K31 basically. Okay. Well, in 6.5. They used to be in 7.5 though. Shit, you got one in 6.5? That's fucking awesome. That is a good rifle. I fired that one in Switzerland actually. Yeah. Well, good on you. In 6.5, shit. I only fired them in 7.5. The Swiss caliber. Equivalent to the Swedish 6.5, but larger obviously. 1 millimeter larger. Tom wants to shoot his Tikka 6.5. Yeah, we can arrange that. How are you gonna motivate the need for a cannon on the tank? Yeah, you're not gonna motivate the need for that. Forget it. Alright. So, I'm out of here. You guys have a nice weekend. And remember, August 1st, everyone with a hunting license in Sweden, try to buy an AR-10. I want to see a shitload of pictures of people shooting a moose with an AR-10 in 308. Promise me? Super thumb promise that you're all gonna buy an AR-10 now? I might get a G3 though. We'll see what I do. But that would be a fun hunting trip. Right, okay. You guys have a nice weekend and right, see you next Friday. Boop and boop.